Hello, I'm Nicole Schrock, and I'm going to be your instructor this semester for your Composition 2 class, or Composition 112. And just so you know, what I do every week is part of my routine is I make this video for you. It's a little bit cheesy, and I'll admit that the first semester I did this, I was really apprehensive just because the idea of me talking to a camera and walking you through assignments seemed, well, cheesy. But I've gotten some response back from students that indicates that this is really helpful, and so I'm going to continue doing it. As you can see, it's going to be very unfancy, unprofessional maybe, but I hope that this will be helpful to you in getting some information relayed as we start the course. You'll also notice that I am working from home, just as you are right now, or maybe you're working from an office or something, but this is my home office, and along with that comes the background noise of children, and that's why we're doing this, right, for flexibility, whether it's children, job, other coursework. Some of you are taking this as high school students, using this as a post-secondary option credit. We all have our own story, and that's what I love about the flexibility of an online class. So, welcome to your first video introduction, and I'm going to go through a little bit of what I think might help you in order to conceptualize the class as we get started. Okay, first thing, I do everything in a binder. I've always taught from a binder. It helps me. And just a thing that you might think about doing, if you're used to having hard copies of things, the online environment can kind of be a transition for you. So what you might want to do, if you have a printer and ink available, is go ahead and print out some of these things and put them in a binder and divide them up by units, and that way you have that paper access. If you want to stay a little bit more green, then don't do that. Keep it all online and find your own way of getting things kind of organized and put together. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. The way the course is set up, when you get on, you'll see the different icons. What I recommend doing first is always starting with the syllabus, okay? The course overview is nice, and each unit has its own overview. That all breaks down the syllabus further. The syllabus is sort of the big picture global concept of the course. The syllabus is based on course requirements provided by the college, and so this syllabus might be very similar to other people that you know taking this course, but I've added my own organization and style to it. So I'm going to walk you through that so that we're on the same page, literally and figuratively. First, you'll notice that you can reach me by my email. I am going to be checking this email address, this nschrock@northweststate.edu, and my in-class emails daily. I tend to check them in the morning, not always, but just to give you a frame of reference, morning is my checkpoint time, generally speaking. You'll also notice that there's a lot of information that you might skim through, like the course description, course objectives. Again, these are all provided by the college. Where things get a little bit more personal is when you get to the assessment and evaluation policy. These numbers are subject to change, but it gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going to make your grade as we proceed in the course. The next page of the syllabus is a rubric. This is a general rubric, again, provided by the college. I do something a little different with it as we progress through each paper. I'm going to actually have you copy and paste this rubric from a different form onto your papers so that I can give you feedback based on this form as we go through the course. That will come up later, probably too much information for right now, but just so you know, we will be using this rubric very specifically. Additional information that you might want to look through as we're looking at this is that there is an emphasis on the writing process. Again, I'm on page 4 of the syllabus if you want to follow along. And so we're going to talk about pre-writing, rough drafts, editing, revising, and peer editing. And then finally, of course, publication. Publication just simply means that final draft that you put out there. Deadlines are pretty strict. They're a big deal for me. Basically, if you want a late work exception, you have to ask for it. The assignments are set up that you can turn them in late, but let's aim to be on time. What happens, especially I think with an online course, is because we're not meeting face-to-face, deadlines don't seem as imminent. And once you get behind on one thing, you know the rest of the story. You dig further and further into a hole. So I encourage you to work on the assignment that we're on and do it in a timely fashion. I do have compassion in me, and I do understand that there are circumstances, so do please keep in communication with me regardless. Okay, during this course you're going to be completing 3 to 4 page papers using MLA format with citations. These papers will use text readings as their sources. So the readings in one week will then go into the actual writing of the next week. They're all correlated. The other thing that's going on with this is that there is an additional fourth paper, and that's going to be an 8 to 10 page research paper. This is going to be a portfolio paper for the college as well. So this final paper, the 8 to 10 page paper, is not going to be based on class readings exclusively. It will be a little bit more to your catering individually. It will become part of your writing portfolio for the college, and it will also serve as your final exam. Okay. Additional information, numbers 1 through 7 on this page. All papers obviously are going to be typed. Turning it online, I'm not sure how else you would do it other than scanning, and we're not going to do that. You do have to have the necessary reference page. In other words, you do have to have a works cited page, and you want to make sure you do those correctly. There is a great guide for that in our Erin text, and you'll also notice in the classroom under resources, I mentioned the online writing lab provided by Purdue University, and that's a really great go-to place online for MLA citation questions. I always joke that MLA stands for Making Life Awful. It actually is the Modern Language Association standards on how to write a paper. Some of you might use APA for some of your classes, but for writing classes we use MLA. Okay, basically, obviously we want to avoid plagiarism, clearly. And there are going to be point deductions for papers that are late and that do not meet length requirements. So just look through these if you would. There's a self-evaluation, like I mentioned before, along with this rubric that we're going to attach to each paper. This stuff will become more relevant as the course develops. So do keep in mind that that's where it is, page 4. Okay. We also are in compliance with the American Disabilities Act. If you are on an individualized learning plan for a special need, please contact me about that so that I can be aware and help provide the services that you have that you're entitled to. Okay, the next page I call the tentative course schedule. I might make minor revisions, but this course is pretty tried and true at this point. I've done it several times already with a lot of success. What I really want to point out to you today is this is the heart and soul of the class. Okay, this is where the big picture focus of the course is going to be. So I would recommend looking at this page every week. I also want to bring to your attention that I have a coding system. Anytime there's an A, I'm referring to the Erin text, the little brown compact handbook that's part of this course. Anytime there's an H in front of the page numbers, that's the Millennium Reader. Anything in red are assignments that you're going to be turning in. All assignments are turned into the assignment icon. I call it a Dropbox sometimes. And in addition, some assignments will also go to the discussion board that we're going to use as a very important tool in getting classroom interaction going online. It's all asynchronous. In other words, you don't have to be on there at the same time as other students, but you will be required to read what other students post so that you can feed your own knowledge and kind of argue with them and agree with them on points that you see necessary. Okay, the third thing I want you to notice about this syllabus is that there's a pattern. I'm really big into patterns and routines, and I hope this helps you. Obviously, we have the dates for the class. Everything every week ends on Sunday at midnight for me. It says 11:55 in the classroom, the way I set the score, the assignments up, because when I've put 12 o'clock, it goes 12 a.m. and that throws people off. So 11:55 is technically the cutoff, but I will give you that grace so that as long as you're turned in by midnight, you're fine. Okay? I know that technically Sunday is often considered the first day of the week, but the way this course is set up, Sunday's going to end our week. So everything for the course, with the exception at the end, I believe we have some different deadlines, but most everything for this course will be due Sunday at midnight. That means Monday at 12 a.m. if it helps you conceptualize that. The second thing I want you to notice with the way this is set up in a routine is that we have units that sometimes spread over, or most of the times will spread over more than 1 week. A unit is basically working on one paper. You can think of it as a writing workshop. The first unit is the exception to that, and that's the unit we're working on this week. We're going to start preparing ourselves to write, argue, and use resources by completing a reflection activity, reading in the Erin text, responding to in the discussion board with our reflection activities, and completing an MLA exercise from the Aaron text. So there's 2 exercises and 1 discussion board post. And this is explained more explicitly in your course content folder. So after you're done with this page, I would go to course content and read through that material. And that will help you kind of to solidify everything that you're doing. And then you go to the various places like assignments and discussion board to deposit your final work. After this week, things will go in a pattern that on the first week of a unit, we'll read and discuss. On the second, or do an exercise. On the second week, we will continue our discussion or exercise that's related to the writing focus for that unit. And on the third week, we will submit a rough draft and final draft of a paper. So basically, we'll have 2 weeks of pre-writing and exercises related to writing, and 1 week of actual drafting and publishing. So if you want to think of it as the writing process, each week or each unit reflects that pattern. Okay, let's go ahead then and look at how this course content is set up. Each unit has an announcement page where I will lay out a little bit further breakdown of that week's work, okay? And each week will also have a lot of reading material that I have written for you. Consider this the lecture time, okay? That course content that seems kind of cumbersome, that's a bunch of my writing, you need to do so that you've basically attended class. That's what I would tell you in a class if we were in a class. It also, again, outlines what the assignments are. And if you see inconsistencies, something that says you need 1 source, then I say you need 2 sources, or if some website doesn't show up or whatever, do email me, write it on the discussion board. Our discussion board serves 2 purposes. 1, you'll find a general discussion, and then after that you'll find specific discussions that lead you to, like, okay, here's where you post your reflection activity. For the general one, that's where you can ask a question out. If you want a more immediate answer and you don't know when I'm going to check my email, you can put your question there and see if other students in the course might be able to answer, or if people might be able to say, you know what, I had that question too. Please do not use the general discussion board as a place to rant about how you hate how I have the course set up, or to do any of that kind of discussion. That kind of stuff needs to be directed directly to me. If you have a problem with something, please let me know. But if you have a question and that needs clarification, please put it on the discussion board. I don't think that would be a problem, but I do want to clarify that this is a public space, and if it's a public question, put it out there. If it's a private concern, send it to the person that you mean to really have that message sent to. Okay, so that's how the units are set up, and hopefully that helps you get started. Again, if I'm going to look at Unit 1 and give you a more specific focus for this week, you are going to go to the course content, and you're going to read through the readings for the week. You're going to complete the reflection activity, post that both in your assignments and the discussion board, and complete the MLA exercise to kind of get us set up and ready to use sources. If you have questions on this, please, please, please contact me. I want to help you, okay? So I can't be that professor alongside you because I'm not there, but I can be figuratively through our different technologies, and I want to do that for you. I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more this week through the reflection activity, and I also look forward just to interacting with you throughout the semester. I want to make this online class as personable and effective for you as I possibly can, so I'm also open to your suggestions and questions. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.